Test, test. All right. What's up? How's everybody doing? Hi, I'm Scott Brody. I am the founder and creative director at Heart-Shaped Games, and we're working on a game called We Are The Caretakers. And I guess I'll go over a little bit about what the game is, because not a lot of people have seen gameplay for it, and then I'm gonna do some work on our encounter system, which is kind of our name for combat, but our game has sort of non-violent paths you can take as well. Let me turn this music down while I do the intro of the game. How's audio for everybody? This is the first stream, so it's highly possible it will all fail on me. How's it going, Val Victus? All right, I'll cut the music for just a second. But yeah, here, I'll just run the game. Actually, let's go to the main menu, show you the game, show you how encounters fits in, and then we can try to do some of the features that I've been working on. All right, great. Thanks for the sound check. See, actually, I got the game audio muted. Let me know if the game audio comes in too loud. Probably should have tested that. So yeah, we're obviously developing in Unity, C#. There we go. I'll just cut the audio because I don't know if the levels are good. We're actually lucky to have a bunch of cool collaborators on this game. We're working with Xavier Nelson Jr., who's a very talented writer. We've got Anthony Jones on art, and we just brought on John Parra to do the soundtrack for us. So all the music that's currently in the game is kind of our early test stuff, and we've already got a couple tracks in for the final music, and we're really excited about that. But yeah, you should check out everyone on our team. We've got about 6-7 people doing great work. But right now we're working towards a demo of our campaign, and as part of that we're just polishing up all of the different pieces of it. You'll have sort of an XCOM-y type headquarters that you can choose your next mission from, and right now I've just got one demo one that we can jump into. Here I check out my squad. The game is basically based around building an organization to protect yourself from poachers who are trying to invade and kill the animals in our game, which are called the Ron. So I'm not going to go too deep into this right now, but basically you would recruit characters, drag them into your units to form various squads, and each of the characters has their own different capabilities. I'll just jump into the first mission. My goal is just to give you kind of like a quick overview of the structure of the gameplay so that you can see how this encounter work I'm going to be working on today fits in. Hey, how's it going? that Sean? Thanks for stopping by. I can kick the audio in here. So you start out in the field. We've deployed one squad. We'll send them out. You can deploy multiple ones. These are the characters sort of that you're protecting. Ron. So we have to survive basically from these poacher attacks for, in this randomly generated level, we've got 2 more days of game time. And I can pause at any time, select character, give them new orders, that type of thing. But the part that I'm working on today is the encounters, and I'm going to fast forward time here, which you can do anyways. And just try to see if I can trigger an encounter. The maps will get even bigger than this. One of the things we've learned in researching sort of real-world anti-poaching is just how big the spaces are and how few resources they have to take care of it. So if you can imagine, this is actually a small level. But here I've spawned sort of a poacher boss. No, cut the audio. So now it takes you to sort of like your traditional RPG encounter combat screen. And this is my squad. I can inspect them. This particular squad here, I didn't really do any setup, so they're very like defensive focused. They're really more about sort of wearing down the opponent, trying to negotiate with them, and trying to sort of resolve things by simply diffusing the situation. But in this case, this is actually like the boss of the first mission, so it starts out as a pretty high threat level. Basically, it's sort of, each of the characters have, based upon their classes, different abilities they can use. We're debating whether we want to make this sort of auto battling, and your role is more to like direct the tactics, and hopefully they sort of comply, and they your squad sort of follow the directions you set for them. So if you're trying to be sort of friendly and work with the community, they'll follow that. If you're trying to be aggressive, you can do that as well. The other big piece of the game is this threat meter that I've just sort of started working on. The idea is that you can kind of diffuse the threat to try to again sort of lower the aggressiveness and to prevent the poachers from fleeing. But based upon your actions, you might increase the threat, or the poachers might do that, and you have to kind of work hard to fight against that. So again, this isn't going to be a very exciting encounter because the squad I picked here is not very, they don't have a whole lot to do other than defend. I could flee at any time, and if I did, I could come back with another squad and confront this group. Let's see if we can see what the boss will do here. Sorry, I'm not good at managing my chat here. Make the game feed bigger. Oh, I see. Yeah, I finally did go full screen. Sorry about that. And the bell was it was actually the end of the day. So I was fast forwarding, so the day transitioned from day to night. And so there's like a little sound effect right now that's placeholder to let you know that the day switched over. And depending on how you've like worked with the communities and the towns, they might give you funds to help your cause. So at the end of each day is when they do that. All right, so the other last thing about combat I just want to show before I jumped into my work was in each encounter, the sort of flow of things is that you use your abilities, you try to wear down their stamina either through aggressive actions or friendly actions. And once they're down, they're sort of in a critical state, and then you can choose how you want to finish them. And so each character class has different finishing moves. So in this particular case, this guardian character is sort of like almost like a bodyguard or just someone that's out there to try to like help protect your rangers. And so they could actually detain the poacher and bring them back to your headquarters, and you could kind of decide what to do. Do you want to rehabilitate them? Do you want to hold them? Do you want to ask them for information? That type of a thing. So I can't do that right now because I haven't worn them down. It would be very hard to do that with this unit other than my diplomat, who could kind of like talk them down. At any time, I can also like stop the game and come back here. Right now, we don't have a whole lot for you to do, but eventually you can kind of change your tactics or use sort of special abilities, that type of thing, to sort of help you if you've gotten into like a really bad situation. The poachers are going to harm your animals or your people, and you really need to kind of like step in. So yeah, that's the structure of things. Your characters will level up. They can go up in classes, and you can kind of build a set of squads that can cover a whole bunch of different situations, because the game is far from just being about these encounters. It's about caring for the animals. It's about negotiating with the local communities. It's about recruiting people to your cause. It's about disarming traps in the field. So there's lots and lots of different specializations you need to kind of succeed in each mission. So I'll leave that there, and we do have like a full gameplay video up on our YouTube. I'm hoping to update that because some of the stuff we've done since then has made the game look a lot better. But yeah, we'll be able to share more gameplay later. So what I want to do to help me develop quickly, our programming team, actually Stephen Whittle, has helped set this up. We have a testing system where I can just jump into an encounter in its own scene. And we've got this little testing system here on the side that I'll show in a second. There's a question, is there a benefit for being both diplomatic and violent? Yeah, so the thing I skipped over is that you have a reputation for your entire caretaker organization. And based upon that reputation, it will impact sort of how the communities, if they work with you, or the characters you can recruit, that type of thing. So you're kind of overall managing your reputation. And so you can sort of make short-term or long-term decisions. So if I really have to like, okay, this animal is going to get killed if I don't like aggressively stop these poachers right now, then yeah, I can sort of make those decisions, wear them down, and it'll hurt my reputation, but I've at least saved that animal in the short term. There'll be long-term consequences across other missions. But yeah, so we've got this sandbox here, and what I wanted to do today, I started working last night on a feature, make this bigger, it's a minor thing, but I'm starting to get to the point where, okay, we've got like the general systems in place. Now it's about really exposing what's going on under the hood to the player. So I've been focusing a lot on like expressing what's going on with each character, so that you can kind of then make smart decisions. So one of the things that was annoying me was you can kind of see these lines here on the health bars. Before, we didn't have any of these sort of dividing lines, and what those are supposed to do is help you see the scale of stamina that each character has. So our conductor, which is like the main character that you'll follow through the story, and is kind of like the leader, has a lot more stamina to start out with. And so I've added like these dividing lines to show that he's got multiple of these. So I started doing that, but as you can see, there's other places in the UI that I haven't added that to. So I'm gonna start off just like with a quick task to see if I can get the rest of the stamina bars in the game to have that feature. Question rephrased. Is it possible to keep both playstyles, the top-down general approach and the more hands-on approach? Yeah, I'd be kind of curious what everyone thinks about that, because we've been playing with both. We started with this more like almost like Darkest Dungeon sort of interface where you kind of have more direct control over what characters do, but every action is like really critical. And we thought that brought some like weight to each of the encounters. But what ended up happening is it made, at least in the demos we've done, we've been at PAX East and Sam Arcade in DC, and both times people have really enjoyed it, but each encounter has gone like 10 minutes or something like that. And so that turns each level into a really long thing. And if that's fun, at first we're like, that's fun, that's great, but that maybe isn't the pace that we want. So we're exploring the auto battle for a variety of reasons. One of them being the pace of the game, so we could have more encounters, so you have more situations to deal with without feeling like we're dragging the game on. Because what we really want you to do is get more into the level to level loop where you're upgrading characters and dealing with the consequences of your reputation hits and things like that. And the other thing, I don't know if anybody knows of a game, and this is first of many streams, but I will probably say the word ogre battle on every single stream that I do, so I apologize in advance. But there's an old Super Nintendo game called Ogre Battle that this game is loosely modeled off of. And so we're kind of thinking that the structure of that game where they do have sort of an auto battling but lots of characters might be the way to go. So yeah, that's kind of what we're debating right now. We think, to your question though about having both play styles, we kind of like the idea of it being auto battling, but then you can kind of decide, okay, I'm going to get involved and like direct your troops, and maybe that's cool because I can make a decision, but then there's some knock-on effect with your troops. So maybe like the trust with them goes down if you're like micromanaging them or something like that. So that's actually probably going to be the subject of like the next couple of streams that I'm hoping to do, is doing that conversion, doing those prototypes to play out auto battle. All right, so while we're chatting, I'm going to try to do that that update to the stamina bars, and then we can kind of maybe go into something more exciting before I cut the stream. I'm going to kick some music on too. Yeah, that's a good point about that. Yeah, when a player is making a lot of the same choices is when auto battling is good. And I do think that that is what was happening in the demo a little bit, is that, you know, once I decided at a high level I wanted to be aggressive or friendly, then I was kind of just making the same choices for each character. I think that is in part potentially a problem with just the design of the characters because they're pretty basic right now. But yeah, that's a good point, that if we want that, if we want it to be more about the high level choices versus the micro choices, then maybe auto battle is the better path to go. This is what I started working with yesterday. So we have like a general script for like these stat bars. So we're updating, we have like population based upon the type of stat, and then I've just last night hacked in this function to add those bars. In the editor, there's a prefab for this. The new Unity prefab system is pretty nice for this. So we have just like a single character slot here, and I added these ruler lines, and they're simple, really simple UI objects here, and then my code just figures out, okay, at what percentage should I put them on the bar. The problem seems to be that we have some other prefabs here that handle character slots. Looks like this one actually worked. This one has the nested prefab of, okay, it's character slot. So look at that screen, that big screen that shows more detail that the stamina bar doesn't have the lines on. Character info. You. So it's just its own thing. That makes sense. This isn't a character slot, it's its own screen that's kind of duplicating stuff. So I'll just have to go in here and add stuff from character prefab, character slot to this character info prefab. Maybe for any of the programmers watching them, we're using something called Odin Inspector. There's a plugin that gives us a lot of this nice functionality here out of the box, as well as lets us do some custom editor things. I have these slots, so I just need to actually make the stuff. And now I'm debating, maybe I can just make this easier. I'll just prefab the whole ruler, all them ruler lines. I think I'll just give this a shot. I'll prefab this just to bring it in to the other screen. Anybody else watching use Unity making stuff? Oh, that was for, okay, character view. Work. All right, so now I just have to rig up the here. Actually, this is one annoying thing I learned. So with the new prefab system, you can auto-save, but when you're trying to make a lot of small changes, it like takes forever to save your change. So while you're making changes, you just uncheck that box. So, now that I have that, this might just work. Let's just see what happens. Yeah, well, it's complicated. They have a basic slider sort of thing you can use in Unity, but we've done a couple things to it. Like, I don't know if it's actually active here. Okay, cool. That worked. Does that look right? 66 out of, I think my scale was like 80 or 100, so that looks about right. But yeah, we've added things like these guidelines, as well as what's the other thing? Oh, animated changes. So like when you take damage, it like shows the the difference in the bar that shows like how much damage you took, and then it slides down to the normal stuff, normal size of what your health is. So we've added a couple things like that have like made showing stats more complicated than they need to be. But yeah, Unity definitely has like some quirks about it that take some time to get used to for sure. That feel like they're adding a lot of work. But at the same time, I used to work on Flash games, and it's really, really nice to have a lot of this 3D stuff out of the box that I would never be able to build on my own. So, trade-offs. Okay. So, that one's working. Where else do we not have this work? I think these little previews make this bigger. So, there's these like additional stat previews here that are more useful when you're targeting. Like this, now I can get a detailed view while I'm targeting a character with an ability. So that does not look, oh wait. It is there. You can kind of see it overriding the stamina text, but that's a problem. So I need to change the order so that it doesn't override the text, but then that should work too. This is the call out. So we have a call out system, which is basically just world space UIs that we can place. That's sort of like, you know, numbers floating above heads, or this this UI that needs to like be below them in world space. So it uses the same prefab that I was using before. It just kind of encapsulates it with the call out code, and then in character slot, put that autosave back on. So this is still a character slot level change. And the reason I didn't notice this before is because in that little like group UI, we don't show the text over the bar. So I didn't notice that before, but all I have to do, here's the name text. So I should be able to just move this above the name. I want to be below the name, but above the fill area, and see if that works. Is this music too loud? Like, is my mic all right on it? Sorry, I can't tell in my headphones if it's like overriding the mic audio. All right, thanks. So it's there. It's interesting. I wasn't noticing it in the other view. I guess it was just overwritten. I don't know. What do you guys think? It's probably fine in this context, right? That you don't see the bar exactly because the number's right there. I didn't like that I couldn't see it at first, but I think that'll do the job. All right, I'll leave it there, and then we can play with the visuals on it later. So now the question is just, is there another spot that I'm missing? I guess there's these things down here, huh? I don't think we need that. So there's this little preview down here. That this shows like the turn order that all the characters are going to be acting in. I think that would just be too small anyways, but I can probably do it anyways. That should be an easy change. I'll try it and see. That is called, get up. That is turn order, yeah. There. Search is helpful, variable memory. Prefab is, but it's probably something like turn. No, I think it's like portrait. this is it. Take my ruler prefab. That's one annoying thing. I didn't want to make that a child of the one above it, so you have to kind of collapse it to make sure that doesn't happen. Big up here. The that looks good. See what happens. Share this in the... So we have a Heart-Shaped Games Discord as well as the We Are The Caretakers one, so I should have done that. Do that real quick. All right. So the lines are there. They're not spacing. It might just be that these are so small that positioning code is off or something. Take one quick look. Oh, maybe those are updated differently. Change related. Really briefly, what I'm actually doing here with this is I'm getting the rectangle of the bar, the stamina bar itself. I set like an arbitrary sort of, this isn't really a percentage, it's just like a, this is meant to be like 40 stamina points. So, and then after every line, I increase that by 40, and then if we ever go beyond the amount of HP that the character has, then we just don't we don't position the line and we hide it. And then I just calculate the position that the line should be at based upon sort of where it should be relative to the max stamina value that the character has. What I'm wondering, I'm just wondering if the distance is so small that it's not even really positioning it in this case where these portraits are so small. So I am gonna save this as an investigation for off the stream because it's not that exciting. But yeah, something seems to be up. All right. So what I wanted to do is go back to the sandbox here, collapse this. We've got the testing system here, which is like a custom script that Steven, the programmer, has made. And we can use it to kind of populate and make scenarios that we can then test out in the encounters. The team characters and enemy characters here are the actual sort of copies of the character classes in the game. And then these are the actual characters that are available to be like generated. And then we just have a tool here that lets us like invoke and create a new set of characters. So let's say we wanted to have like a very aggressive party to test. I can just invoke. Right now it's kind of inexact, but it's enough for quick testing. So I can just like get the characters that were randomly generated, get these guardians out of here. Rangers are sort of our more of like all-purpose class that can do things in the field and in encounters. Now I'll add a veterinarian and a couple more rangers. I wanted to get the conductor in here as well. Conductor is our name. I think I said this earlier, but it's our main character in the game. All right. I've got 6 characters here. That should be good. And then we can keep we'll just keep this encounter like it is. I'll make this sort of a worst case where you've got a whole bunch of really good opponents to face. But now, if I run this, you'll see that my party has changed. Yeah, so now it'll populate group here. We'll randomly generate them. Stats. Actually, here I'll make it big. So what we've recently done is sort of a big refactor of the encounter system, as well as adding a new system that's for effects and traits, because we have these basic classes that most characters will share, but then we want to make them unique in their own right. And so we have these traits that can be applied that give each character like unique stat changes or abilities or resistances. So this guy has the Defiant trait, just plus 25% damage when in a critical state. What else did we get here? Defiant again, or Elite, plus 10 to all basic stats. That actually shouldn't be randomly generated. I should write that down because as you can see here, it says class tree coming soon. So as your characters level up, they can kind of convert into different character classes. And the last class for every character class tree is the Elite version of that, which is just like a buffed version. But anyways, we've finally finished and built that system out. We've got a whole bunch of initial testing traits to work with. But in that process, sort of the abilities were also tied into that system. So we're finally at the point where we can kind of remake and start adding new abilities and new traits, and the game is not balanced at all. It's just sort of functional. So what I wanted to do today with the rest of the time on the stream was just to start messing with values and feel on some of our characters. I was going to start with the Ranger and the Conductor. So right now I just want to see what they have and what they do. So right now we have a basic grapple, which is sort of like a low level attack. They have first aid, which is just healing that's only on themselves. So they can't really help other characters in their party. They can kind of just keep themselves alive. And then they have intimidate, which is sort of a like non-violent attack, but it uses a different stat. Sorry, I'm jumping around, but like if we inspect this guy, most of the aggressive things are based upon your strength stat, and most of your sort of non-aggressive attacks are based on charisma. There is a will stat, which is basically like something we can break, another way to wear the opponent down that isn't direct stamina. And that will is going to have an effect on like their will to stay in the battle. So they might run away if their will is low. It might affect the effectiveness of the actions they take, as well as their ability to kind of dodge. So it's like a catch-all for the character's sort of current state of wanting to stick in this encounter or not. And then trust is sort of in the works that I want to tie into that auto battle prototype, where your characters can kind of go rogue on you, or you could use that trust like against the opponents to like try to sow some dissent within their group so that then they don't follow orders and that type of thing. But yeah, that system is TBD at the moment. But long story short, I think this is actually a decent ability set for this class. So let's just see what Grapple does. I want to see how much it's doing with the current system. 12, which for the boss, let's see. Around 50 is what I'm generating for these like basic classes. For a boss, I've got 80, 12 is a significant chunk. Someone has a question here. Ranger and Conductor, what are the other classes so far? Are they classes? Let me see if I can pull that up without spoiling stuff. I'm not going to do that, but the base classes for like we call it Shadra, which is the first sort of group that your caretakers are a part of. Their classes are Ranger, Veterinarian, I guess Healer, which is sort of like a human-focused healing class. There is a Mystic class that is sort of about almost like buffs and support. So like fixing the sort of like lack in trust or messing with threat, that type of a thing. And then we have a Diplomat class that is really focused on like negotiating, wearing people down in their will, that type of a thing. Then we have, I'll just say the other classes or the other groups of people that might be spoiler territory for the game that have their own set of class trees and basic classes. And then from there, each of those base classes will have a tree where they can upgrade. So for example, the Ranger upgrade path is to go to like sniper class, a survivalist, and a warrior, I believe, off the top of my head, which are effectively specializations from that sort of generalist type of a class. So overall, we have something like, I think, 30 classes planned. So there's a lot of like customization you can do, as well as the individual traits that your characters will develop. And then special characters like the Conductor, who are sort of outliers in the system, who might be able to combine abilities from other classes to make them sort of unique. So I think that Ranger set is pretty good. I think as a counterexample, we have the Guardian class, which actually here I can just go into the data and show you that if you're interested. So we're defining each of these classes with a character class data script, and here's where we can kind of decide what they do. They have basic attributes here, which is where I'm kind of currently defining the randomly generated stat values. So let's see, I'm on the Guardian. Let's go to that Ranger since I just showed you everything they have. But yeah, like I'm generating a basic starting stamina of 70 to 75 health. Their resolve is 40 to 45, etc. We can define their abilities just by, we have a whole host of these abilities defined in the project here. Some of them to varying levels of actual completeness. But yeah, just to define the class abilities, then this list populates and then we just check the ones we want for each class. So right now, again, that's kind of part of what I want to be doing in this sandbox is like, is this the right ability set? And then is this ability functioning how I want from a gameplay balance standpoint? What I want to do, for say like grapple, which just used as an example. Right now, I think I'm just randomly going based upon my character's strength, but I want it to be their strength plus a baseline that the ability has. So we can do things like maybe have like a weaker attack that does something else that sort of reduces the overall strength you could do. And then I also want to have a range of damage, so not just a straight constant value that's being done to them. So I actually just want to brush up here and see what we have of that defined. All this stuff probably a little bit more than worth describing in detail, but this is part of that system I was talking about earlier that we have spent a lot of time developing to get abilities, traits, and effects into the game. Okay, so we have a hit chance to here not used. I think we're just using a chance to hit. Okay, here. All right. Sorry for all of the comments. We have been in design flux, so we kind of have just been saving some of our working bits here. Hack for Sam Arcade. Sorry about revealing our secrets. We hacked it in for Sam Arcade. But now, right now, the basis of our chance to hit for abilities is just a flat 90% chance to hit. And then I'm taking the speed attribute on the characters and just simply subtracting that, because the speed is just a value from 1 to 10. And normally that is used to define the order that they attack in a given round. So that felt like a nice small variable on the chance to hit. So all this is fine, but what I actually want to do is not the chance to hit. I want to look at the formula for dealing damage when an ability is actually applied. Find that. That is brushing myself on the state machine stuff here. Used to have your understanding of the system, but because we just refactored it, I've been slowly getting myself familiarized again. But there's been a lot of great work done to set us up to have flexible systems where we can make a ton of content. See here. Ability. Found it. This is when the AI does their action. So all that stuff I was just looking at, basically the state machine, and it's something that Steven set up, but it's a bunch of definitions basically of the states within the game and in encounters, and then the transitions that are allowed. So if you ever tried to transition from some part of the game that you're not supposed to, it will kind of prevent that incorrect situation from happening. And just in general kind of enforces this. And I'm told that from this we can actually generate like an image that shows the full like state machine graph of transitions and stuff. So anyways, I usually don't spend a lot of time in here, so that's why I was kind of just brushing up. But the actual sort of states or the functions that trigger when you go to use something manager here. All right, I'm starting to get into the weeds here, and I think I might wrap up the stream in a few minutes, but I think what I'll do for the next stream, what am I listening to? It's actually something I just found here. The program called Pretzel, where it's like stream-friendly tracks. So I just have the hip hop station for that playing in the background, and you can actually let me see if I can pull this into the stream. Yeah, there you go. Kind of nice because you can just define instrumentals only or explicit lyrics or whatever. Yeah, pretty handy. This is Dreamscape by Marcus D. Yeah, that's worth checking out. I got it in like a Humble Bundle like a few months ago and finally started using it. But yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap this up, but what I'll do in the next stream is go into this a little bit more and change the, I wanna change and update the attack and damage formulas, and then I wanna actually rebalance some of the character abilities once I have that. But yeah, I think this was a good first stream. If you guys are interested in the game, definitely please go wishlist it on Steam or follow the Twitter account, what have you. And yeah, appreciate you guys checking it out. Let me know how it went.